Welcome to Not the Silence Zone, the video podcast that is changing the way we talk and we think about trauma and abuse. Our mission and the mission of this video podcast is very simple. What we want to make sure that every female survivor feels stronger, happier, healthier, and more empowered after listening to us. Every week, each episode will be based on casual and relaxed conversation. Every week, I will be inviting a few amazing guests to share their expertise, knowledge, and feelings. So when we have that discussion, when we have that talk, there is not only brain speaking, there is our mind and soul calling as well. So we're not here to guide you, we're not here to teach you, we're here to share our own experiences with you and make you happy. Today, our subject and our topic is self-care. How trauma survivors can focus on that subject. We'll talk about it just now. Welcome my amazing guests today, Zeenish Nasir, who's learning psychology and is aiming to become a clinical psychologist very soon. Hello, Kirsty Paterson, mindfulness and mindset coach of the Awakened Mind. Flaviyana Asenova Emmanuel, amazing message therapist and well-being mentor. And Claire Watson, inspirational CBD and cannabis consultant and owner of the Hemp Café in Stirling. Welcome, ladies. Before we start talking, please let us know who you are and what you do exactly.
So, good evening, everybody. Kirsty Paterson, as Evelina said, owner and founder of The Awakened Mind, mindfulness and mindset coach. The Awakened Mind was set up 5 years ago after dealing with trauma. And I found mindfulness to be a massive benefit for myself. So what better than to go out and to help other people and to bring happiness and joy to other people through mindfulness, meditation, and helping people change their mindset.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kirsty, for that amazing introduction. Claire, over to you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Claire Watson, and I'm owner and founder of the Hemp Café and shop in Stirling. I'm a trauma survivor, and I also massive cannabis advocate, and it was kind of always my dream to have a kind of cafe of that type, but it was my trauma and my experience of trauma and recovery from it that really made me do it, because instead of filling myself up with pharmaceutical drugs, I got over my illness caused by trauma, which was PTSD. And used cannabis to beat it, and I did. And when I did, it kind of catapulted me into getting off the criminology and psychology degree that I was doing to really kind of be real and follow what I really wanted and what I believed in. So, and now people come into the cafe, trauma survivors, and this was years ago I had this experience. So I'm an old dinosaur now, and you know my skin's now time served, I think. And I love my job. I love it's not even a job. I just love what I do, and helping people through CBD and cannabis where I can. And that's me in a nutshell, I'm afraid.
I love
Nice
this
to meet you
nutshell.
all. Nice to meet you all.
Nice having you here, Claire. Zeenish. Zeenish, you look frozen, so I will go.
I think she has. She put a little message in asking if anybody was having connection issues, but I think it's possibly.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Flaviana, hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited being here. My name is Flaviana. I'm based in Aberdeen. I am massage therapist and health and wellness mentor. I had, before COVID, health and wellness center here in Aberdeen, where I was treating patients with massage done by technology, because I became very passionate about how nature can help you out in many different ways. And I'm here to share a little bit about nutrition and how it can boost your energy levels and your mood as well.
So let's talk self-care for trauma survivors. Self-care are many things we do for our emotional and physical well-being. What and how it works to become better, to care about our own self, own physical and mental life. What tools would you use?
Can I answer here?
Of course.
So the first thing that sprung to my mind when you talked about that and you mentioned the tools for self-care is that the one thing that came to mind for me that I had to really be aware that I was doing was, believe it or not, to say no. And it was to maintain as time for myself. And I really, really struggled with that in the beginning, saying no to people, because you give so much of yourself. All trauma survivors are either, I think, highly empathic or sociopaths. And it's what we it's what we do with it. And the highly empathic ones, like the ladies that are here this evening, for me, I always find it difficult to try not to please everybody. Pleasing everybody all the time. My thing was to just say no, learn to say no in the beginning. I
could only agree. I remember that for me as a trauma survivor, the most difficult part was to actually call my boundaries, because at some point I didn't even know what they are. That's why I crossed them so often. And I was completely lost because I just didn't know what is the ending lane, where is the edge. So as you said, Claire, it is very, very important to do self-assessment, to be able to know what our boundaries are and follow them and listen to ourselves. That is absolutely amazing. And my granddad used to say, there is no person who was born and would please everyone. And very often we have that push that we have to do that. It's just not possible. But what is possible, we can learn to believe. We don't have to please everyone. And I know you, Claire, I know Kirsty, I know you girls, and I know we've learned. It is not easy to say no sometimes, it's not easy to stop sometimes, but this is a possible thing to learn.
I completely agree with what Claire said, that just being able to say no and setting your own boundaries. You know, your happiness is, you ask people what's the most important thing to them, and 9 times out of 10 they'll say their children, their family. They never put themselves first. But actually it's that thing of, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to do something for you to enable for you to go out and better the world as well. So I think absolutely setting those boundaries, having that time where you're just dedicated to you. I know even now, to this day, I still diarise my time, whether it's walking the dog, whether it's having my lunch, doesn't matter what it is, it's in the diary, because if it's not, it doesn't happen.
And there was a certain point in my life as well where I only wanted to make other people feel better. And by doing so, I was kind of killing myself in the process, because I would be doing stuff that I wasn't comfortable with, or it was only to please other people. And it just got to a point where the people that I was trying to please, they would take advantage of me. And that is something that it took me a while to understand. But once I did, and once I started putting myself before other people, not deliberately, not purposefully, not with any ill intention, but just to protect my own mental health, I think that I feel a lot better now than I used to feel beforehand.
Also, I think it's something about self-worth. Very often we just don't feel enough. And we teach people how to treat us, and that is the truth. So it's not necessarily only people around us who are always not nice, or they expect us to do too much. We actually come and we open everything what we can, and we don't, and we can't, and we make them to believe we meant to do that only because we don't feel enough.
Yes, I totally agree on it. And I remember when I was preparing for this topic, one of the things that I wanted to mention is exactly that we often neglect ourselves because of our family, work, etc., etc. Everything else comes first, and we are last in the line, and it catches up with us sooner or later. The stress, the depression, the anxiety, everything. So self-care is absolutely important, and we must put ourselves first, because as Kirsty said, we can't pour from empty cup. We have to fill our cup so we can serve to our family, go to work and be good employees and do our job at our best.
Flaviana, you're doing something amazing in your life. You actually work a lot about nutrition. And I believe we are what we eat. So if we are what we eat, how does it apply to self-care for trauma abuse survivors?
That's a very good question. And yes, we are what we eat. And there is another say that I love as well. It's let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So there is a lot of power in nutrition and going back to nature and really see what nature can offer us in terms of nutrition, and keeping our body fueled with good nutrition is important. Again, we can't pour from empty cup, and nutrition is as a fuel to our body and mind as well. Here, actually, we always refer to having a pamper night with our girlfriends or having a massage or nails done. But to me, self-care starts first from my plate and then going to the hair salon or the massage therapist. Like, make sure that you have colorful, for example, veggie fruit salad. And actually it's proven that even the colorful food makes your mood goes up. And also by having different colors, about the color topic is very, very deep, but each and every fruit and veggie has different colors and have different vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, etc., etc. So you're fueling your body, and there is different ways that you can track. Like I think Kirsty said she's having a diary where she's writing. So you can do the same. You can write what you had this morning, this lunch, and always you can. My door is open. I can give you free advice what you can eat and what to avoid as well. So I hope I'm answering your question.
Of course you are, more than I would expect. Fantastic.
I'm taking vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, sovereign silver, and fulvic humic acid. And this is the basic that I use every single day, and it's enough to start with. You can always top up. There is so many different options on the market, but these are the basics to keep your immune system healthy and strong and fight flu, bacteria, etc., etc., and keep your body into a balance as well.
Thank you. Staying with the nature, part of the nature is a cannabis. And before I met Claire, I need to admit, I thought the cannabis is something related to drug addiction. Scary. Then I had a lecture from Claire, and I'm clever now. So I would love other people to know as well. Claire, if you could explain a little bit why and how the cannabis and CBD can help with overcoming a trauma.
We have, trauma survivor or not, we have many different systems in our bodies. We have neurological, musculoskeletal, digestive, respiratory. We have all of these different systems in our body. But the main umbrella one here is the endocannabinoid system, and it's been found, they've found evidence of it. And in layman's terms, that basically means that you have a system that's in your body that's specifically designed to receive cannabinoids, basically. So anything that's derived from that plant, your body will happily absorb. And there's even backup receptors. It's amazing how your body works about it. You have CB1 and CB2 receptors in your body that cling on to whatever good stuff you're putting in there, whether it be CBD, cannabidiol, the medicinal compound, or the other stuff with tetrahydrocannabinol in it, which is THC. This is the compound that makes us feel like higher than an astronaut's nuts. With trauma survivors, the trauma shows itself in emotional ways, emotional trauma, psychological abuse, etc., which is what I experienced. And any kind of feelings that we have, these CB1 and CB2 receptors that are all over our bodies, the universe has put backup receptors in our neurological system, and they're called anandamides. And they're back at this paralimbic system that deals with all these thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we have, that trauma survivors have. I will try and answer anybody's questions that ask me about cannabis. If it's a benefit to their health, I will answer any questions. And there's no such thing as a stupid question at all when it comes to this, because it's that's it.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
You can use mindfulness when you're doing the housework. It's all about awareness. And starting off with really, really basic daily tasks. That's how I start with most of my clients. They're really basic. Again, finding out what is their daily routine from the minute they get up in the morning to the minute they go to bed. And we start implementing being aware when you're brushing your teeth. But we don't often think about actually doing it, the actual habit of doing it. What does it feel like? So it's all very much things like brushing your teeth, having a shower, really, really simple, basic steps I take with anybody, first of all, to get into the habit of being more aware of what we do in our daily life. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of gratitude, but do you know what? See, before we even start on gratitude, it's really, really difficult to practice gratitude when you feel crap. When you wake up in the morning and feel rotten and you want to pull the cover over your head. So before I even start looking at gratitude, I work with dumping your shit. And there's no other way to put it. It's dumping your shit. It's getting a journal and it's writing down all of that crap. It doesn't matter whether it's a word, whether it's a sentence, whether it ends up like a book. It's whatever's in there that's bothering you, that's stressing you out, that's causing you pain, that's causing you upset, that's causing you anger, that's causing you frustration. Write it down. Absolutely write it down. And then we move to the gratitude stuff. Because once that's clear of all the stuff, it's easier to then practice the gratitude. And I start my gratitude with 3 different elements. So genuinely 3 things every day that you've been grateful for. Writing down a reason why you've been grateful for it, because it takes it to the next level. It's very easy to say, I'm grateful for my family, having a roof over my head, and I've had food today. Those those are kind of 3 things that come up all the time. It's very easy to say that, but why have you been grateful for that particular thing? Because you might come up with the same thing every single day, but your reason might be different, and it just deepens the level of gratitude. So once you've got the things you're grateful for and the reason why you're grateful for it, say thank you for it.
But again, self-care is about taking steps to feel healthier, to feel stronger. But in the reality, sometimes the first stage of overcoming trauma is lack of any strength, is the stage when we just know from books or from somebody's advices, it is important to care about ourselves. And I think that one of the tools and absolutely amazing, powerful things is to be able to seek for help. From the psychologist perspective, could you tell us how important is the therapy in the healing process?
Therapy, I would say, is a form of recovery. Now, recovery is something that everyone does once they feel like, enough is enough and we need to change. So with therapies, it's essentially the ones that we focus on is talking. So there are several talking therapies. There is so much stigma that is still around There are so many misconceptions about mental health that are still around, and that is something that we really need to do something about, because I think the pandemic in itself has shown us that, you know, mental health is real. It is something that we do need to take into consideration.
Yes.
Now, when you ask me what is the difference between trauma and mental health, essentially trauma is when something happens. When something happens you were not expecting, and it affects you in a very, very, very bad way.
As you know, I'm from Charity Heal the Scars. This is a very small charity with massive, amazing hopes and dreams. Dreams about happy returns after trauma or abuse. So if you're listening to us and you went through trauma, you went through abuse, and you just don't know how to start over again, contact our charity and we'll tell you who is there for you, who can help you. What is your message about the importance of self-care?
Well, I think that self-care should be given the top priority. I think that sometimes you do feel like doing things for other people, and that's okay. But if you keep doing things for other people, eventually you will start to burn out.
Well, I would like to say, I might not answer this in the way that you want me to, but if I was talking to somebody that is out there that is going through some sort of trauma, or you know, dealing with something that's very difficult, my main message to them would be to say that nothing is permanent, and that includes feelings, emotions, and situations. Everything is fluid because the universe moves in such a way that everything's fluid and it keeps moving. Situations change, you will change. If you come to speak to any of us women who know to give you the tools to empower you, you'll turn into something completely different, and you will see that life goes on, and there's so much more out there.
Thank you.
Okay, I think my message would be, you know, a bit like what Claire said, nothing is permanent, but also there is really nothing to be embarrassed about, particularly within a group situation like this. You know, there are a lot of, as Zeenish said earlier on, still a lot of stigma around that kind of mental health and mental well-being. There's a lot of stigma around about, but the biggest step and the bravest step that you can take is to reach out. This is a safe place. You know, we are all safe places to reach out to, so make the first step. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Take the first step. It'll be the biggest step of your life, and it will get you on that correct journey to healing and to moving forward with your life. It's not to say that the trauma will be forgotten about, because I still have never forgotten about mine, but it's now no longer painful. And it now actually, my trauma actually powers me every single day to do better and to help more people.
My line is round about what everyone said actually, but one thing that comes to my mind is I am always this happy and positive person, and I'm very inspired by your stories and personal experiences. And what comes to my mind is like, we're all unique. And as you said, the tattoo is going to be there, but let's make it to something incredible, something that is going to serve other people to come out from the situation they are right now. And just start small, start speaking out, go and talk to somebody who can trust. If you break it down to small, little achievable steps every day, before you know it, after 30 days, you're not going to be the same person. You're going to be much more better. And I believe this is applicable to people who has been through trauma.
Oh, definitely it is. Thank you so much. And this is the reality. Nothing's been done overnight, and nothing can be done over one night. Sometimes we need to also understand that overcoming trauma, it's not waiting for a miracle to happen. This is a bit of work which needs us to get engaged and involve our strength and divide the pieces for smaller ones, to see the tiny achievements. Thank you, Flaviana. That's absolutely amazing hint for all of us. Once again, thank you all of you and each of you separately for coming here. I hope the ladies will find it helpful, empowering. Thanks again.